All right, so we are live streaming just about 6 o'clock here on the Pacific Coast. I need to see if I can get anyone to join me. Let's see. Let's see. Make sure that we get our links posted around. I do feel like I'm kind of still learning the best way to do this, but we'll get there. We'll get there soon enough. It's a learning experience. All right, so we are going to kind of continue yesterday's stuff, but we are also going to do it better. I think that there were some problems with yesterday's with yesterday's little stream that we had going on, and it did not go as smoothly as I would have liked. I think we can do better. So we're gonna give it a go. Give it a go at getting better. And we'll start by having me share my screen. And so let's do that now. And we'll just see if we're lucky enough to get anyone joining us, but if no one wants to, that's fine. All right, here we are in our lovely Photoshop. Hey, Photoshop. So, I know I talked about this before, but let's just have a little introduction here again. I am Philip, and I am a lowercase a artist. And I only say that because I don't want to put pressure on myself or anyone who chooses to join to feel like this is a professional artist kind of thing that we're doing here. I like to think that art is for everyone, and these things can be picked up by anyone. And I've kind of experienced it myself, just going through it over the years. You know, learning Photoshop and picking up a stylus and using those features and yeah, you know, it's takes some learning, but you know, I feel like talent as a notion is overblown, and while some people pick things up quicker, 99% of the population just practices and gets better and, you know, learns techniques. And so we're going to be focusing on just kind of relaxing and doing some casual arting and, you know, practice. And I think that we'll actually end up accomplishing, you know, some nice little productions over the course of this live stream's life. I'm going to try and get on most days and do this and kind of try and cover a little different thing every day. That said, like I said, today we're kind of going to continue yesterday just because was kind of dysfunctional with the first stream, and I'm sure we'll probably have some problems today. Hopefully, nothing too serious. So yeah, uh, I use Photoshop here, as you can see. This is Photoshop, and this Photoshop CC. Yeah, I'd really recommend if you're looking to follow along with the series. I know there's some free software out there, and you can use that for now. And you can even probably use a pen, like pen traditional media, pen and paper, pencil and paper type thing right now. But in the future, I definitely plan on using specific Photoshop features, things that are only really, as far as I know, in Photoshop, not really in other software. Yeah, I mean, I really want to explore Creative Cloud's software suite. I have the full subscription, which I think is like $50 a month or something like that, and yeah, I feel like it's a great value. I use InDesign, as you can see down here. I use that. I write RPGs as another thing that I do, and that is a wonderful little thing to escape into, and Photoshop is as well as Illustrator and a lot of the other software applications that Adobe is now making a lot more affordable for everyone. I know like you might think like the $20 to $50 it might cost you to get this software every month. That might sound like it's expensive, but Photoshop used to be thousands. Well, I don't know. I can't remember exactly, but it was a lot of money, and it was basically something that no casual person legitimately used Photoshop unless they were rolling in it. I mean, nearly everyone I knew like pirated it or something just to use it. It was kind of crazy. I was fortunate to have access to it through school. I got a really good discount, and I was able to get a few Adobe programs like in this like web student bundle thing, and I used that for a long time. And yeah, that was great. And if you are a student, you can probably even get an even sweeter deal on this Adobe Creative Cloud. So I definitely say check it out. Either way, even if you're not a student, it's pretty affordable, and I'm just really proud of Adobe for everything that they've done on their their sale point and their model. And I feel like now everyone can really feel like they are the ones who Photoshop is meant for, because it's priced for them, right? So yeah, I'm not being paid by Adobe or anything. I don't know Adobe even though they're here where I live. Yeah, I would say, if you're interested in following along, or if you're really invested in becoming a digital artist, the free stuff you'll get really far with that. And honestly, like that's gonna work for like most of the stuff that you'll want to do. But there's just some Adobe centric stuff that I want to try out, in the future. And I think that like the Adobe CC is really going to be, something I'm going to hop around in a bit. I already know I want to check out this thing called Fuse and try playing with people models, but we'll do that much later, I think, after we kind of, have gone through some more fundamentals. There's a lot of ways that you can like kind of like fast forward through some processes and cheat in a way using 3D stuff. And I really want to get to that, but at the same time, I think it's going to be more useful for everyone if we just take our time going through some fundamentals, learning what to appreciate in the cheats is what makes them worthwhile. So all that said, let me just check my notes. Yeah, so yeah, I've got Adobe Photoshop CC here. I'm using it on a Microsoft Surface Book. I don't have a fancy one. I want one, but I've just got the first generation, and not even the best model of that. And but you know, I have the Surface Pen as well, and I have the Microsoft. I think it's called the Arc mouse. I'm not 100% sure. It's the one that kind of flattens when you want to put it away. And I've got the Microsoft Surface external keyboard as well, which is lovely and gives me all the full keyboard functionality that I could ever want with this computer. The cool thing about the Microsoft Surface Book, and I should just say this is not a promotion or anything, um, is that the screen comes off and you can actually flip it around and plug it back onto the bottom, the base part of the it's like a laptop looking thing, and you can basically turn it up and have it be kind of easeled. And why I like this is that I can put it away from the external keyboard, kind of elevate it a bit and have it angled. Um, and I can do my artwork from the shoulder. Now, I don't know if you've heard art people talk about technique or the best way. There's not really a best way. It's just trying to get a result. But um, there is some reason behind drawing from the shoulder and painting from the shoulder, and not like leaning on your elbow or leaning on your arm or your wrist to do it. You get more range of motion, and that's basically it. Um, and with that, you can get some smoother lines, some better workflow out of it. Just if you can manage to keep your whole arm in it, and not just your wrist. And it's something that I'm still getting used to because I want to lean really, really hard. But yeah, why don't I switch my camera back? Here we go, and I could just show you. Here's my little stylus pen, Microsoft Surface Pen. This is not sold with the Surface Book. Neither is the keyboard, which I recommend, even though they're not paying me for it. These are great for artwork, and like I said, I've got my Surface Book kind of like the screen turned around and have the thing kind of upside down in a way so that it's kind of like an easel right in front of me. And of course, I can't keep it. I can't keep my camera on while I do this because I just get my hand in your way as I'm drawing. But you can see like my arm is not leaning on anything as I do this. I can just kind of move around on my screen and keep my arm elevated. Hopefully I won't lean down. I have like this floating shelf thing that I use as like the most minimal desk possible. It's kind of ridiculous. But hopefully I don't lean on that. I can just kind of get this going. And this is my mouse I'm talking about. If you want to be creepy copying me in a creepy way, then you can do that. I'm a Venom fan. So I'm wearing my Venom sweater, and the movie's getting all this hype right now, and I've got my little Venom figurine in front of me, giving me his sexy look there. Look at that. Some nice happy smiles and some nice fun tongue waggling going on there. Woo! I love this little figure. I got these at the Disney store. Such a Disney character. Now, I guess. These happy, fun Disney characters. But yeah, so that's kind of a little idea into my workstation here. I'm hoping sometime to get like another camera thing set up so you can see me while I do this, and hopefully not have my arm in the way. But no promises, because I don't know anything about streaming. I'm not going to have a green screen because this is just my bedroom, and I've got open bedroom space behind me that I'm not going to bother covering. It's all just nerdy stuff anyway, in the dark. But yeah, let's get back to the screen. I know I'm looking off to the side here because I'm watching myself talk, because apparently I have to do that. And that's where I've got the Hangout window open. So let's get back to the screen share. All right. So hey, Photoshop, we're here again. And let's get my notes back up. Oh, we can close that little window there. Let's get my notes up. All right. So yeah, that's kind of my setup, and I would suggest, you finding what works for you. There's definitely more affordable technology than what I've got. I would not recommend going with the Surface Book if you aren't like really into the idea because it's expensive, and the new one I want is like $3,000, and it's way beyond my affordability, but I may be able to work it out soon. So this is Photoshop, and I know that this might look really intimidating. Oh, there's these buttons and all these menu options. Oh my god. Ah! It's fine. You'll only be using a few things to start, and you'll get used to navigating some of this stuff. I honestly don't go into a lot of this stuff, and I'll be learning stuff too. But at the very start, you want to get started, right? You want to go to File, New. And your Photoshop might look different than mine because I've got my own workspace figured out here. You can kind of figure out your own workspace. But I would suggest, let's just start a document. Let's create this. And here we go. And so I've got the crop tool selected, so it has these little handles, and we don't need to use that right now. But your workspace, you're going to want to probably change it some. You probably have a bunch of crap open that you don't need. And all these windows in here can be stuff that you might have showing up and that you don't need to have showing up. I would suggest that you have the tools open, the options open, these two checked. Get your navigator on there, get your color on there, and your layers. And that's the basic start. Now, here's some other stuff I have here. History. I'm not sure why I have this on. I was probably using it for something a long time ago. Brush settings. You're going to want brush settings, tool presets, brushes. Those are good things to have. Tool presets you might not use right away. I downloaded some people's presets, and that's why I have it. But it's useful, and we'll get into this stuff a little bit today. We'll talk about it because brushes are the main thing we'll be using, and it's good to know. It's good to know what you're picking up. It's good to know what the hell are brushes. God, it seems like brushes, are this fancy thing, or maybe you might think they're really simple and you're used to doing vector art, and you're like, why would you want to do art in pixels, when you can do vector? Why would you do that? Well, it's because we're doing digital painting, and digital drawing. Well, more digital painting, and we're not interested in having vectors. We're interested in just putting out some shit, and that's what we're gonna do. And you can't really get the same result of a brush as you can with a vector. You can do some pretty close stuff, but it's not the same. It's just not the same. So I've got my brush tool on right here, and as you can see, B is a shortcut for brush tool. That's very useful, B. And of course, I'm gonna use my mouse right now, and you can see that with my mouse, it's just a big old line. And this is not really the true advantage over the pen tool. This is nothing. It is. I honestly did art with my mouse for a long time, and I would draw it actually by pencil, and I'd scan it in, and then I would use the pen tool, and I'd make some paths, and then I'd stroke the path to clean up, to have the clean line art. And I would taper it and stuff and get it to look cool. that is not the way to do this. That is slow, and for better efficiency and better effect, get a stylus. Let's jump back in our history here to before we made all these weird marks, and let's pick up our stylus and let's switch to B for brush. There we go. Watch this. Oh, you see that? See how it tapers with the pressure sensitivity? Going really hard, just picking up my stylus off the screen, and it's getting lighter. This is why using a stylus with pressure sensitivity and some kind of compatible device, such as my Surface Book, or maybe you have like an Intuos or Wacom tablet of some sort. That's why digital artists use these, is because you get pressure sensitivity, and that just adds to a dynamic element to your work that you cannot accomplish easily otherwise with digital media. So much more work. But you get this, and you can do suddenly so much more than you can even do with traditional media. Traditional media creates beautiful pieces of artwork because you can switch your tools up super easily. But imagine if your little toolbox, your artist box, suddenly had like 1,000 different tools in it. And that is kind of what digital media gives you. You can do some cool stuff with it. So let's just jump back now to a blank canvas. So I would really suggest getting a stylus if you're going to follow along with this, because you will love it. You'll love it. It'll be great. And it, like I said, the entry point, I think it's $80 to get the base brand new. You could get it cheaper if you get a used, but for a brand new Intuos or device, I believe, I think it's just $80. And then if this is something that you're gonna, if you do artwork and you are into the idea of going digital, do it. I would just make sure to try getting Photoshop first. Make sure Photoshop runs okay. Squiggle your mouse around a lot. Do this a bunch and see if you get lag. Pick up some big, complicated brushes. You can right click and get something crazy, and see if you can do it without getting some lag. I get lag on this thing sometimes because it's not the high model, unfortunately. So try it. Try it, and then get yourself a tablet or a pen. But you will appreciate it, I promise. So you may notice that my brush, my little tooltip here, it's a circle that looks like the brush. And if I change the brush, you can right click and do, if you've got the pen, it's a little button on the side of the pen that right clicks. And I can show you that. I'm not sure how to do that. Let's just switch to my camera. So on the Surface pen, it has, this is the tip. This is what I put on the surface. And then this is a button right here, and it kind of blends into the pen a bit. That's a button, and that's the right click. So if I hold that and click, on my screen, and tap on my screen, hold that and tap on my screen, it's like right clicking. And this back here is like a button that you can customize the feature of, but I think by default it works as an eraser, but it's awful. So I would really not use that as your eraser. Use your regular tip, because you're gonna get a lot more fidelity and pressure sensitivity and everything out of that. This is a good shortcut for like opening things. But yeah, the new pens look different than this. This is not a new Surface pen. This is an older one. But yeah, you can take a look at them and see if one of those works for you. Now, Surface devices, those, have a bunch of different price ranges, so you might be able to find one of those that, works for you. Let's get back on our screen share so I stop staring at myself. Okay. So here we are back in Photoshop. And yeah, if you want to have, I've got the eraser selected now. I think I must have clicked that end, but if you press B, it'll switch back to brush. Now eraser, that's E, and you'll want to use that later, but we're not going to use that today. We'll mostly be using B, and so you can see what my brush looks like, right? And if I right click, oh, I'm clicking. If I right click and I select another brush, you see how you can see at the tip, and if it changes, if I select these other brushes, you can see what the tip looks like. You'll want that active, and the way to get that active is to go Edit, Preferences, and it is Cursors. Cursors. Yes, go here and select normal brush tip. It'll probably be standard, which is a crosshair, or no, it's actually precise. That's what it starts out as. You want this to be the default. You really do. That's what you want. So yeah, get that active. Get that active so you can see what you're working with. You can see exactly the shape you're going to create before you press down, right? See, I'm creating circles. I can predict exactly what's going to go down on the page. That's what we want to do. All right. So, once you've got your brush set up, like I said, you want to get you want to have your navigator. You want to have your navigator is like a thumbnail that you can always see, and it's always good to have like a big zoomed out look at what you're creating later on when doing composition. This will be essential. So get that navigator on the screen, window, navigator, get color on the screen because you're going to use it. I have mine set to grayscale, grayscale, because we're just going to be working in grayscale. We're not going to get to color for a while. And why? Because color is an animal, and we're going to just focus on 2 tones today. That's what Notan is. Well, it can be more than 2 tones, but it's actually pronounced Notan. It's Japanese. That just means, I think, light and dark. And we're just going to use light and dark. And so we've got our color thing here. And I know it's on black and white, which is fine. That's what most Notan uses, but we're actually going to bring it in a little. Okay, just a little. Like let's do 10 and let's do 90. I feel like that's good, right? Just a little bit. Oh no, I'm clicking. 90, there we go. That's our 2 colors. And why bring it in a little bit is because later when you're doing stuff, you're never going to use black and white, not hardcore. You're going to want to focus on, you using, mostly mid-range stuff, your foreground, your background, your midtones, all that stuff is going to be, it's going to be in the middle somewhere. So we're just going to get used to it from now on, not using black and white. Stick to the middle. All right, so yeah, get that set up. You want to have your layers palette working down here. This is your background layer. You don't have to have a background layer. You can just work with regular layers, but the background layer is kind of nice. Nice to have just something there. If you don't have it, if we unlock it and turn it off, oh my God, that's transparent. That's nothing. That's good if you want to make like transparent images, but we're not going to be doing that. We want a background. And yeah, we just want to make this 2 colors, if that makes sense. And I'm absolutely sure that there's a better way to do this, but we're just going to use the square tool, and we're just going to make half of it black, right? And not black, I'm sorry. Not black, very dark gray that I can't tell the difference from black right now. And then the other half, we're going to switch our stuff. Now, if you look here, X is the shortcut, X. So we can use X, switch these around. So let's do that. Let's switch to the lighter tone and dye our other half, right? So now we've got, a background that's 2 colors. And why we're going to do this is because we don't want to get used to one color. We want to kind of work with both in balance. And so next we're going to, this time we actually want white. So I'm switching back and we're going to put in white. We still have our colors on here. I'm not going to get into swatches yet. let's save that for later. But we want to get black and white now because we're going to do a thing called masks. So we're going to make this a mask. And now I'm not 100% sure how to do this the best way, but I believe it's here. And if we now make our boxes, we want to make a bunch of boxes. They should be transparent. And we're going to use these as frames for our little Notan drawings, and we'll zoom in. We'll zoom in to get a better look. If you just click, it's going to give you this pop-up, which is annoying as hell. So don't just click. Drag. Make yourself a bunch of frames, a bunch of rectangles, some squares. Some squares are good too. If you hold down Shift when you do this, you'll actually get a perfect square. Kind of neat, right? Do some weird shapes. Don't get comfortable. Switch it up. Oh, I don't like my nice clean line I've got going here. Let's shatter that. Now this half is my lighter tone, and I don't want to cross them. So what you can do, if we want a guideline, you can go to view, I think rulers. Yeah, there we go. And you can drag from the ruler to that line. And that's a guideline. Then we can turn off those dang rulers. Okay, so now we kind of got a guideline. That's good. It's good to have that. Excuse my touch features showing up when we don't want them. Drag that mouse. Don't pick it up. It'll be annoying. We don't got to be perfect. We're not doing a puzzle. We're just making boxes. So what this mask does is it's a white layer, right? And we have this mask going on here. Well, basically the black is telling it where to be transparent. And that's why we're seeing the background layer underneath it, which is now called layer 0 because I unlocked it and did things to it. But it's serving the same function. It's our background. Right? Right. Let's keep making some more boxes. Now, I would really suggest when you really want to do some Notan practice, make like a fuck ton of these. Like really go for it. Make a lot. Ooh, that's so annoying. Stop it. Oh my goodness. And I've got this showing up. I don't need you. It's downside of the surface is that it's got a little too much touch going on. I'm getting a little too comfortable with these squarish ones. Let's do some risky stuff here. There we go. Just a bunch of different sizes is good. This is really good for you to do these. Not these boxes, but to do this exercise, we're going to do this Notan exercise. So now you can see we've got something here, but there's one problem. We've just did a bunch of work and we haven't saved yet. So I would really suggest saving. And we're just doing day 2 here. Visual writing 2, right? Sure. Right. So like I said, what this really looks like is different. No, we don't need that. We don't need that stuff. it's really black and white, this mask. But the idea is that you see through it, and you can actually doesn't even need to be black and white. You can be all kinds of gray and have fades in there and stuff. But we like it because it's going to give us our frame, right? So now we have this new layer that we created. This is the new layer button. So these are 3 different layers, and this has a mask applied to it. And you can toggle these, right? You can turn on. This one's got nothing on it. That's why it looks transparent. You can toggle these. But this layer is going to be the one we draw on, so we should name these. So if you just double click on them, you can give them some names. This is going to be frames here. Yeah. Let's see what happens if we try to apply a style to it. I think it'd be kind of nice if we had some borders, right? There you go, right? And we can make them a nice mid-tone. Somewhere in here. There we go. We don't want them very thick, though. Maybe like there. That's good. That looks really good. There we go. And so we're just going to do our little comps inside these little frames on this layer here. No, we don't want to mess this one up, so let's lock it. And we don't want to mess this one up, so let's lock it. We're going to do everything on this layer. And the lock is there to help you. So let's call this our Notans. That's not a word, but that's what I'm saying. So now that we've got our frames squared away, now that we got those there, we are going to use our brushes. So if I press B, I've got a normal brush here, a circle brush, but your brush settings may not be the same as mine. So let's just go into the settings a bit. Now I've got mine set with some stuff. So I've got size jitter set to pin pressure with the minimum diameter as 0. This will give you the taper. And then I've also got these off, opacity and flow jitter. I've got those off because we're not going to be dealing with opacity today. Not really. We may with some other brushes. We'll jump around in brushes a bit, but we just want a regular brush. And so you can see the tip of it on the screen. And, you know, we've got some shortcuts. By the way, if you made your thing too small and you want to go bigger, you can press C for crop and you can actually increase the size of your canvas. But just be warned that you're going to start going into transparency because your background is pixels. And so unfortunately, you know, you're gonna want to do the sizing before, at least until we figure out how to do that dynamically, that coloring. But yeah, let's go back to our brush. And so now we see if I actually make a mark here, it's behind my frames. Isn't that cool? I think that's cool. And so this is how we're going to do our artwork. We're just going to do each Notan practice in each one of these little frames. This is going to be real simple, real easy, stress-free, kind of mindless. Except we're going to be thinking about composition. We're going to be talking about composition as we do these, which is the same thing we did yesterday. But yeah, we're going to be a little bit more deliberate today since we have our tech working. So if you use above your Enter key on your keyboard, there's these square bracket things. And if you use those, you can increase your size of your brush on the fly. So you can go big, you can go small. Yeah, play with it. It's great. Of course, you can always right click and do it on the slider. You know, that might be slower because honestly, it's kind of like I'm not very accurate when I'm going down to tap something down here. And you know, I would really suggest not using that. But yeah, I mean, this is fun. You can do some thick lines and then down and do some thin lines, right? Some really thin lines. It's great. Good. So Control Z is undo, but it only goes one step back in your history, right? If you want to go way back, you got to do Alt Control Z, and that'll take you one by one back through your history. And this is where you want to be. Save it here. There's some fancy stuff you can do down here. I've never used these, but I'm sure they could be pretty useful if you're doing something really experimental with your work. But yeah, so there's that. And like I said, you've got a right-click menu where you've got different brushes and sizes and hardness. Hardness is basically the softness of the brush. We're not going to really mess with that today. We're just going to mess with size and stuff. Like if you want to use a different size, you can. And we'll use some different brushes. I'm going to try and stick to hard brushes. Like we'll probably use a square one some, you know. And some of these are tool presets, so I gotta be careful not to select them or I'm gonna frustrate myself like that bottom one there. That's an eraser. I'll really frustrate myself if I select that again. Yeah, so when we're working, you know, we're going to be using our brush tool, but if we want to switch colors, we use X to do that. And of course, now I'm seeing I got black and white selected. So let's Control Z to undo that. We can actually use Alt to get our colors back. So a letter color, you know, should be this one. And you see you get kind of a comparison if you compare it. It lets you compare the colors a bit. And you can see this swatch here, this foreground color is now this. Now I can press X to switch these, because remember this says, you know, it's X to switch. I think I have to, there we go. And so now I can use Alt and select my other one. Boom. And you can see it is inside a little bit. I don't know, you know, it's strange. It says 93. I thought we did 90. Let's do 90. Make sure this thing is painted with 90. Here we go. And so, you know, if I use X, it'll switch these. Oh, see, now it's saying 13 for this one. I know we did not do 13. What the heck? That's strange. Okay. Anyway, we can switch between these using X. And the brush tool, E for brush. Oh, we're on the background layer. See that? There's actually shortcuts to go between these. We're not going to worry about these right now. We're gonna use our brush. We'll be doing something like this later, and you can see that, you know, since our background is the same, actually it looks like our background is a little bit darker. Let's make sure that it's the same color. Let's hide this. Okay. Okay. Let's hope we can get this right. Okay, back to our brush. If we do the other color, yeah, I know it still looks lighter. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get why it looks lighter, but it looks lighter to me. Anyway, let's use our good old handy dandy rectangle tool on our background. Actually, we can Control A selects everything. We can do delete to clear all that stuff out that we did, and then D. Actually, it's Control D is deselect. I believe I just reset my colors on here. That's great. I did. Let's do Alt and select them again. This is good practice. Alt 90. Yeah, it definitely does not want it to be 90. It definitely wants it to be 13. You see that? It wants them to be 93 and 13. It does not want them to be 90 and 10. I don't know why that is. If someone knows why it wants them to be 93 and 13 and not 90 and 10, please tell me, because I don't know. Yes, here we are. We're ready. We're ready to get started. But we're kind of far out. And working far out, you know, it can be good. But I think it's good to get used to using the tools, right? So if we want to zoom, Z will get you the zoom tool, right? That's that little thing. Z will get you that. But we want to keep on our brush tool. We don't want to switch. We want to just kind of temporarily zoom dynamically. So if you hold Z while you have your brush selected, and then drag with the tip of the stylus, it'll zoom you in dynamically. That's really nice, isn't it? And of course, once you're zoomed in, you can use the navigator to move that around wherever you want it to be. And so this way you can really utilize your full screen space and you can get more range of motion, which you want. You want more range of motion because that is going to give you better shapes really well. And if you do the same thing with R, you can rotate. So you can, get comfortable. Just press escape to get back to the normal view. But, for today, we're not going to be doing any detailing. So I don't think that we'll really need to use rotate. We're just going to use brush. So we're going to, switch up our brush size. And we're going to do some compositions. So make sure you're on your Notans layer, Notans. And here my squeaky chair. And yeah, we're just gonna start. This is actually the wrong color, so let's get to our normal color. And we want to I don't know why it's moving the screen. That's strange. But sometimes it likes to move my screen. Huh. But you just want to see, I'm using my stylus and it's moving my screen. That is weird. That is very weird. I don't like that. I don't know why it's happening. Anyway. God, that's annoying. Okay. Let's just make some shapes here. Oof. Why is that happening? Okay, so we're doing composition. And the thing about composition is that you're trying to create balance and flow. And that flow is going to be to focal points. So if I've got these shapes here, this is very obviously the focal point, right? And these other shapes, they contrast with it because they're more circular, round shapes, and this is kind of an explosion. And so that is contrasting, and that makes it a focal point. But there's this visual flow going on because, and maybe we can geomatize it, exaggerate it, which is something you'll want to learn to do. Yeah, we can make some dots here even. So kind of further suggest it. This is almost literally a flow, basically is, towards this shape. And so this right here is a focal point, right? I feel like this interaction here is a pretty large focal point. And this is kind of a flow. And so when you're doing compositions, you want to have flow, but you don't want to necessarily have it as explicit as this, right? Because you're later going to be doing like landscapes and stuff, and you're not going to have a river through every landscape, right? So don't do that. Don't do that. So we're zoomed in. We're going to give up on this frame. We're going to go to another one. And if you hold spacebar, it gives you your little hand there, your pan hand. So you can be a panhandler. Go down. Oh, this is a big one. Okay, let's zoom out. We're committed. Zoom in a little bit here. Okay, so now let's try doing something a little less obvious. So I think I want to start with, I don't know why it's moving my canvas. Stop that. Okay. Let's just make a shape. This is real abstract, right? It's okay. God. I seriously want to know why it is moving my canvas around. I don't think I'm touching anything. See, now it's right clicking. I don't get it. I don't get why it doesn't like me. Okay. And you don't want to be in the middle of the frame all the time. You want to actually go out of the frame when you create these shapes. And these are abstract shapes, right? God, stupid tablet. These are abstract shapes. They may start to look like something like I'm seeing a nose and a lip here. This looks like some kind of guy, but that's not the intent, right? The intent is to do composition, and you don't know what you'll end up with, but this shape that I've got already above, it's definitely different than what I've got down below. And so even though I'm filling the space, maybe filling the space if my device agrees with me, there is a compositional element to it. In fact, I could probably, fill all this here, and, I'll still have a really strong focus right here. And I think I'm going to leave that empty right there. And, that is pretty cool. That is a pretty cool composition, I think. Right? I like that. That's cool. I'm digging it. And so this is the kind of thing you want to think about, right? Like we've got flow here. We've got focus points. That's what you want. Got a sense of balance. There's that thing called the rule of thirds. And the idea with that is that you just kind of want to think about thirds of your frame, right? So this is kind of around the first third of the frame, that mark, and that's why it works. But honestly, all rules are meant to be broken, and don't take anything absolutely. You can break any rule. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on these. So if I do, just, scream at me because we're not supposed to. And I'm just going to check to make sure that I don't have anyone joining. No one's joined. That's okay. It's late for some people. That's cool. So let's just continue. We're gonna try and pump out more of these. I want to zoom in, keep zoomed in, so that I'm not distracted. Now, if you zoom in really far, you can start to see we're getting on the pixel level here. We don't want that. We want to be just shy of it. It's okay if we're a little pixelized, but we don't want to be staying in that realm because it's distracting. And let's play around with our size more. Gosh, I really want to know why it's moving me around when I'm using my stylus. I wonder if maybe my pen tip is not good. So I feel like this is getting kind of similar to the, God, come on, stylus. I feel like this one's looking kind of similar to the other one, which I'm not really digging. So we'll play with it. I got an idea. God, I really wish that this was not happening, because it wasn't happening. Maybe it was happening last night. I don't understand it, honestly. I just want to fill in the space. Yeah, it's going to be perfect. And so we've got these shapes here now. And if we use X to switch, oh, that's something, isn't it? Doing these rectangles. And we can even do one down here. And, we can look at that. That has some flow. how can we improve it? Because it kind of looks kind of disparate. I think a square here would be good. There you go. That's good. It's got some nice flow. So here we are. Let's try something different. Let's get on a different brush. And it's really big. So I believe this one's going to have some opacity, which, you know, is okay. It's God, this is really bothering me. I don't know why my screen is moving around. Ugh. It's like I don't get it. Why this is happening now? Does it happen if I do this? Yeah, look, it's not working. Oh, let's try moving that. There we go. So see, it's still not working. I wonder if my battery's getting low on my stylus, that it's not taking. I mean, there we go. There's a stroke. Maybe my battery's getting low. Thought there was a way to check that. Anyway, let's check it. Let's go to settings. Let's see. I thought it was on here. Let's try surface. Okay. Now it says I have 52% battery. So, I mean, that seems decent. Shouldn't be having this problem. Okay, you know, let's try saving Photoshop. Sorry. Okay. Let's try it. Okay, maybe. Hey, it seems to be working. All right, so let's just stick with what we've got here. See what we can come up with. I think we're getting a comp. Oh, damn it! This is gonna be so freaking annoying. So we're getting some opacity going on. I don't really like that, honestly. I want to focus on form and not on value. So let's see if we can turn off this pin pressure. Oh, we want this on. It's the transfer. Yeah, turn this off. And then we want this to be way lower. There we go. There we go. That's wonderful. You know, I wonder if it's the vertical axis that does it. You know, it kind of looks like it. Oh no, there's the horizontal. I don't know why it's bringing up the pan. I don't think it's Photoshop. I feel like it's Windows that's doing it. You know, I don't know. But I want to do my Notan thing, so I'm going to do it. Now, of course, scale is a way to get contrast, and so this looks bigger than this, so there is a contrast there. But the flow, you know, this tangent here, it's not, I don't know if you'd call it a tangent, but that's a focal point now. So this is kind of cool, right? I feel like that's kind of cool. Oh man, this is gonna bug me so much. Don't know why it's being a thing tonight. Like we need something here, don't you? Getting a little bit more landscapey just because I feel like it. I want to kind of showcase the depth effect you get when you get to the when you do this winding thing, when you have stuff go into the background, you get like a weird depth effect. It looks like there's like a river or a trail. It's neat. Nice flow. That's a long one. I want to work from the top on this one. Yeah, this is cool. I think I want this to go up here. This is down here. This is really distracting, this corner. If you tell, like that becomes a focal point, and I don't want the very corner to be a focal point. No, that's like what the rule of thirds is useful for. Because you're like, do I want that corner to be a focal point? No, I do not want the corner to be a focal point. Like I like this over here. I think that's pretty good. Maybe we can emphasize that a bit. So that's a great focal point. This is great. I like this. This is still really strong here. I kind of like it, but I kind of want to do this to bring this down a little bit. Very cool. Very, very cool. Okay. So we've been on here about an hour now. I think I've only been drawing for about 40 minutes. Let's go a little longer. Let's see if we can speed it up a bit. If we can actually get to painting. I'm trying to hurry up my It's just so annoying that my screen keeps moving. I want to know how to fix that. I don't get it. So there's something going on here. I think this needs to go down here. feel like that's good flow. But where's our focus? It's like in the middle, but it's really symmetrical. So I feel like we need to bring it away. Maybe something like this. Now it's got like a nice flow, I think. All right. Maybe we can switch it up. Let's try some of these weird ones. Oh, that's really big. See that? Like, let's make sure we don't have any dang transfer on. Turn that off. There we go. This is cool. This is why brushes are fun. Oh yeah, I like tapping with this thing because you can get some very light. We do have some value play going on here, but not a lot. Not a lot since we turned off that. That looks great to me. That looks very good. Maybe just yeah, it's pretty great. And everything has to fill the entire frame. You can't just do this. This one, I think I want to make sure oof, not panning. I really want that to go away. This is gonna be my entire video, me whining about this thing not working right. Yes. It's weird phallic shape. Somehow I'm always inclined to draw those. It's very, very phallic. Let's see. Break that brush, and suddenly something else is going on. It's still good. I kind of like it though. Yeah. I like it. I like it a lot. I swear I'll figure this out by tomorrow. I'm figuring things out every day. Sometimes it's just my computer. I think it wants me to upgrade. It really does. It wants me to upgrade. Now this is kind of random, but there is a flow to it. There are some mistakes I made. I gotta just finish this stuff up. There we go. And maybe go a little harder up here. Okay, that's good. That's good. I don't like the middle though. There, that's good. Cool. So if we zoom out, you can kind of see what we've been doing here. I don't feel like we've gotten very far. Right? Right. But it's interesting, right? I think it's interesting. Let's try some of these for a little bit longer. I don't think I'll keep you guys on for this entire time, the entire time I fill these in, but I just wanna show you enough, right? Let's try doing some specs. And I'm gonna try and show that looks cool. This over here is a focal point because it has space, right? It spaces out, and that difference in proximity creates contrast. Difference in population of marks, that's contrasting. So this is a focal point. This is also kind of a focal point because it's a hole, right? So there is a composition here, right? It's not just random. There's something going on. Let's see what I can do here. God, I really want this to be fixed so bad. Oh man, it's making it really hard for me to be intentional. I feel like that's a really deliberate flow. Let's see if we can fuck up. Oh, come on. Seriously? So what's happened here a bit is there's a similarity in shapes that is being played on. Come on. Oh my god, all of my streams are just going to be so dysfunctional. Anyway, you can see it. You can see the similarity in shapes that it is connecting these items and making them into focal points. That stuff is part of design. All right, so let's do just a couple more, just so I don't feel like it's a complete failure. Goodness, isn't it though? Oh man, I feel like it kind of is a complete failure. Okay. We're gonna try. We're gonna try real hard. Goodness. I like landscapey stuff, even though we're not trying to go for representation here. We're just trying to go for focal points. But that looks pretty damn good to me, even though it looks like a sunset behind some kind of pillar. I like it. I like it a lot. Let's try really bringing our brushes down. And let's just try working more with more complicated shapes, right? And I'm not drawing here. I'm not trying to draw, I should say, not drawing anything in particular. But we are achieving composition, right? And of course, that vertical line is now an element, so I want to do something with that to make it more universal. Maybe I can put some trippy lines in here. Okay. Well, that's something. Honestly, I'm not really very happy with it. That's something. Right. I hate it. Big. Let's go real big. Let's really take over this space here. Yeah. Oh, this is way better. If my computer was being nicer, I think it's starting to get kind of tired. I'm hearing a lot of noise. Maybe I should shut down Steam. Steam, can you shut up? Thanks. Please. Okay, well, you know, I feel like we did a lot, right? Like we didn't get this done, but we got kind of far. Got quite a few done. Yeah, you know, I feel like this was a good start. So, you know, no one joined me tonight, which is okay. I'm not gonna get someone probably most nights. But yeah, I think next time we're going to move on from just doing random notans. I think we're ready to start representing something and taking what we've learned here about, you know, flow and balance and focus points and the ways that we use contrast of, you know, scale and proportion and proximity, isolation and detail, shape, you know, the way we use those things to indicate focus points. Maybe we can just take a minute to really, you know, let's get some red in here. Yeah. And let's point out these focus points. Maybe we can do that at least. Talk about composition. So if I'm looking at this one in the corner here, this is the big focal point that is drawing my attention like crazy. The flow is kind of like this, right? Maybe I should do that on a separate layer. Let's do another layer. Okay. That's the plural. This, yes, and this is a flow. This is a flow. This is a focus. We can move this above here. I think. Yes. This one's trickier, but I feel like this is the focus, but this is also kind of a focus, right? And the flow is between them. It's just like one way or the other. I feel like it's kind of going like this though, in a way. I feel like this is a really strong focus. more so than over here. I don't know why. Don't you? I feel like that is really in focus. Maybe it's because this has the down here at the bottom. This is like a base to it, a base that's supporting it. So this is like when I was taking design class in college, it was like if it has a base, it just aesthetically feels more secure and we're more drawn to it. I don't know. I don't know if that's a bunch of bunk or what. This is a focus point. This thin part here, the flow is pretty obvious, I feel. Let's just circle that. I was actually drawn to this hole here as the focus point, right? That dot right there. That I feel like is the focus point, more so than anything up here, for sure. This this tangent right here, you see that? That is the focus point. Those shapes are touching, and that has just drawn me right in. Even though we have this lightning shape here, it's this here. Now, this one, I think we succeeded. This is definitely the focal point. This is a secondary one. And we definitely have this flow taking us to them. It's nice. Here, this is the focal point, that's for sure. This is the flow, that's easy. This is the focal point. This one's a little harder, but I feel like this is the focal point in part because this is totally pointing at it. It's strange. I actually saw this as the focal point. Yeah, this one's a bit harder to read, but I feel like this is still the focal point. This is kind of pointing, the flow is kind of shooting up to that. I feel like I was actually drawn to this before this. They're both focal points though. This one's really easy. This one. This one's harder. I feel like my eye was first drawn to this maybe, but this is also really interesting. So the flow is totally like that. Yeah. So, you can kind of see what I did there, right? Like I'm not just talking nonsense. There's flow and there's focus points. Your eye is drawn to certain places, and that's design, that's composition, that's what you're trying to do. Now, you'll want to keep these things in mind as we go forward into our next stream, where we're going to try to do some actual landscapey type stuff, which is going to look more. It's going to look more like this right here, like these. Those are pretty landscapey. I'm going to try and do some of those. Yeah. So there's much more things that you can do with Notan. You can do shapes and then kind of figure out what they're representing and then fill it out after you get far enough. Kind of like you're looking for the shape in the clouds and you keep going with it. But yeah, I think we're just going to get on to doing Notan actual representation, like specifically what we're going for. And so next week we'll go into that. Yeah, so I would suggest, if you are looking for some brushes to use, like a lot of the ones I think that I was using are Noah Bradley's brushes. And this is not, is it I guess this is just the URL that it is. Doesn't seem like a long URL. But maybe you can Google it, Noah Bradley brushes. And I think it's maybe even like this one right here that I was using. I would definitely check it out and check out his artwork. Honestly, even his videos on YouTube, I just found them all really useful. Another one that I checked out is this guy called, this is his website here, Amit Dutta. And I found him on YouTube. So if you just search for ED Rocks, or if you go to him on YouTube, his videos and stuff, were really great. Like I would definitely check out his channel, listen to his stuff. Here's his Notan video that really kind of took me into this. Um, I really appreciated that. And you can see that his Notans are definitely more landscapey than mine are, and definitely more towards representation. And that's cool. You can do that. You can go there. Um, yeah. And the last one I want to suggest to you is Ctrl+Paint. And this is just the site for his brushes that I'm getting up here. Yeah, go here, get his brushes. It's controlpaint.com/brushes. They're simple and they work. But this guy's actually got a lot of great videos that I would really suggest getting to. Um, his digital painting 101 series here. I followed this. It's good. Um, I would really suggest, if you want to get more used to using Photoshop, give these a go. Now, I will tell you something. Our focus is not going to be on drawing, not for a while. And the reason why I'm doing that, I'm actually a drawer. I draw. I draw all the time. When I do artwork, I usually sketch something out first on Notepad, but I really want to push myself to think about form. And the problem with drawing is that it's like, for me anyway, I obsess with the contour, which is the lines around the shapes and the forms, and not the forms themselves. So my mind just wants to like draw the outlines as I think of them, and I really want to think more about like the actual shape and the structure of things, especially characters. And for that, we really have to think about form. We have to think about planes. We have to think about, the actual three-dimensional structure. And I'm hoping that if I do that, I'll think more about, like I'll be able to do foreshortening better and things like that. So that's my hope, that if I just keep form and perspective in mind and focus on those and work towards those and work with value and planes, then we'll get there. So we're going to start going into value, probably not the next one, but actually I can check here. I've got it. I've got my notes here. Next week we'll be doing, let's see. I think we're going to do some Notan studies, we'll pick up some pictures and we'll try and just do black and white versions of them. And just kind of look at where the value is, the light value, the dark value, and just emphasize those like hell. And we'll end up with a black and, well, not a black and white, but close to black and white. And that's what we'll do. And then we're gonna kind of stick with this two-tone thing for probably the rest of the week at least, and then um, we'll get on to like adding more tones probably in next week. We'll start adding a couple tones and you know talking about depth more and start talking about light because that's really where it's at is start talking about those forms and that light and hopefully we'll get there by the end of next week. We'll be drawing some 3D looking forms with some depth. But yeah, this was good. This was fun. We went over an hour, which is not what I was intending, but I think that we did good. So thank you everyone who watched on YouTube, and please subscribe and like and comment and let me know, and you give me links to your Notans so I can look at them and maybe I can spot some focus points. I'm not going to do critiques or anything because I don't feel qualified, but it'll be cool. I like looking at abstract stuff and thinking about aesthetics. So show me what you got, and I'll see you next time.